Cambridge has 4 distinct sections, and today I'm going to be taking you into Galt, or more accurately, I'm going to be taking you into Historical Old Galt. This is the section that's made us known as the Ontario town that looks like Europe. If you're coming from the 401, take Highway 24 south. It'll be about 10-12 minutes, depending on the traffic lights, to get into the historic downtown core. Go up Dixon Street and park for free at 15 Wellington. This parking lot has spaces for a few hundred cars, and it's rarely full. Parking is free here on the weekends, but check the link below for more parking information in the downtown core. And just to be on the safe side, check Google Maps for any road closures. All the shops, businesses, and information I'm going to be telling you, I'm going to be linking in the description below. We're going to be walking down Dixon Street, but before we cross the street at the lights, I just want you to take a quick look at the church on your left, now known as the River City Community Church. There's been a church on this site since 1828. But the limestone building that's here now was built in 1863. I'll be explaining its history on a separate Churches of Galt walk. So take a look at the building across the street, the David Durwall Centre, named after a long-standing hydro commissioner and former city councillor. It's now used for a variety of programs for Cambridge residents. This Art Deco building was constructed in 1921, and exciting stuff? It was the first all-steel building in the downtown core. But even more exciting was why it was built. It was originally the Galt Public Utilities Commission building. One of the reasons that this building exists, and Galt got its electrical power from Niagara Falls when it did, was because of the very wealthy and influential Sir Adam Beck, who got a start in Galt with this, making cigar boxes. While Adam Beck was born in 1857, he wasn't born in Galt, but he did go to school here at the Tassie School, which is now Galt Collegiate Institute. In 1881, Adam Beck started his cigar box business here with his brother and his cousin. Now, it's hard to believe that you can make a fortune with cigar boxes, but 3 things were happening at the time. Fashionable men smoked cigars, and everyone wanted to look fashionable. There were high tariffs placed on foreign cigars, and cigars had to be in boxes to be taxed before they could be sold. There were cigar shops everywhere, like this one on Walter Street in Galt. By the early 1900s, there were over 40 Canadian cigar manufacturers across Canada, and all of them needed boxes for their cigars. Adam Beck moved his cigar box business out of Galt to London, Ontario, but he never forgot Galt. Years later, he became a prominent politician, and he spearheaded the Niagara Power Project. He wanted to make sure that the new electricity that would be coming out of Niagara Falls wouldn't just head off to Toronto and Buffalo. In 1907, Galt negotiated to get hydroelectric from Niagara. Adam Beck encouraged Galt officials to construct this building and to include in it a hydro shop, the Hydro Office, which used to be on the other side of these arched windows. Here you could see all the latest household electric gadgets. Electricity, it was magical. No more having to heat your iron over a fire, beat your rugs to get them clean, or singe your eyebrows as you tried to make toast. The Hydro Office would advertise in the local paper about the incredible washing machines and electric stoves that saved hours of time. From this photo of the Hydro Office, you can see the buildings across the street. There's always been stores and businesses on Dixon Street. In this 1910 photo, it shows the inside of Walton's dry goods store. That was at 83 Dixon. 83 Dixon is still here and continues to have stores and businesses. While you're at it, check out the shops on Dixon. There's some wonderful places to do browsing and shopping. Between the David Durwall building and the next building, there's an alleyway, and that leads to the Cambridge Centre for the Arts. For Cambridge residents, they offer many programs for all ages. They have children's programs and adult programs. They're staffed with professional artists, dancers, actors, writers, and they offer programs such as pottery, drawing, painting, dance, drama, sewing, and textiles. The 50+ Woodworking Club is a woodworking shop for adults over 18, and they have a large variety of machines and equipment. Members have to provide their own lumber and must have good woodworking experience. We're going to walk back to the sidewalk, and the next building we're going to look at is the Cambridge Fire Hall Museum. The Galt Fire Hall was built in 1898 by Frederick Mellish. This was a state-of-the-art building, and at one time was considered to be the most advanced fire hall in the province. They were very proud of the fact that they had a system developed that the horses could be harnessed in 12 seconds. The building had a second-floor exercise room and a trapeze. The tower was used to hang the fire hose dry. The original Galt Fire Brigade was manned by volunteers. Young men wanted to join because it proved their bravery and they looked dashing in the red uniforms. I'm sure they broke many a heart. By 1876, the volunteer system had ended and the firefighters were on salary. Open most Saturday mornings, the Fire Hall Museum is run by volunteers. At this time, admittance is free, but donations are welcome. This is a great spot to spend some time looking at the history and admiring the vintage fire truck inside. Back on the other side of the street is the mural of William Dixon and Absalom Shade. William Dixon, born in 1769, was the founder of Galt. He was a prominent lawyer in Upper Canada, and in about 1811 he bought 94,000 acres from the First Nations with his cousin, but became the sole owner in 1816. He was a prominent, upstanding citizen to everyone that knew him, and everyone that knew him knew that he had shot a man dead and should have been charged with murder. The story is that in 1806, William Dixon publicly scolded William Weeks, who was another lawyer, for making disparaging remarks about the late Lieutenant Governor Peter Hunter. Angry words were exchanged, and 2 days later, Dixon was challenged to a duel. Both men knew that dueling was illegal in Upper Canada, so the next day they slipped over the border to the United States. Guns were drawn, shots were fired, and William Weeks was hit. Dixon returned to Upper Canada, and so did William Weeks with the help of his friends. He lingered for a day, and then he died. The law was firm. In Upper Canada, killing a man in a duel was considered murder, and both the duelist and his second should have been charged. But since it happened in the United States, no charges were laid. Until he was kidnapped by the Americans during the War of 1812. They kidnapped him because he was a prominent lawyer and a businessman, and they were going to charge him with the murder of William Weeks, but then they realized that he hadn't come into the United States on his own accord, so they let the matter drop. He was returned to Upper Canada in 1814. The second man in this mural is Absalom Shade, born in 1793. He was an ambitious carpenter originally from Pennsylvania who'd come to Upper Canada to bid on the building of the courthouse and jail in Niagara-on-the-Lake. He didn't win the contract, but he made an amazing impression on William Dixon, who asked him to join in the venture of building a new settlement. In 1816, Shade traveled with Dixon to the new lands, and Dixon came to agreement with him to build a mill and be his general agent in the township. Absalom Shade was a young man with his eye on the prize and a determination to make a lot of money. By 1820, he had built a sawmill, a grist mill, a store, a bridge across the Grand River, and a home, and there was much, much more to come. Originally, the town was known as Shades Mills, and there's now a conservation area with that name of it in Cambridge. But the name was changed to Galt because both William Dixon and Absalom Shade wanted to make even more money. The Scottish writer John Galt was a commissioner of the Canadian Company that owned huge tracts of land in Upper Canada. He was sent to Upper Canada to make arrangements for the company operation and to site a town, which he did, and the town was Guelph. It's thought that William Dixon had already reached out to John Galt years before, and that Dixon knew John Galt would have the power regarding the building of this new town in Guelph. He made the shrewd decision to change the name from Shades Mills to Galt, and he wined and dined John Galt when he visited in 1827. Sure enough, when it came time to grant a contract to build a road between the towns of Guelph and Galt, Absalom Shade won that lucrative contract, with William Dixon probably having his thumb in that pie as well. Back across the street, I want to point out one of the newest buildings, and that's the Cambridge City Hall. Finished in 2008 at a cost of $21 million, the building was the first municipal city hall that won the Gold LEED designation, a national recognized program for rating buildings that make an effort to reduce their environmental impact. Inside, there's a 4-story high green wall. There are various events held inside throughout the year, including a Christmas market in December and an arts festival in June. You can check the Cambridge events calendar that's linked in the description below. The sculpture in front of City Hall is the depiction of the 4 areas of Cambridge that were brought together during the amalgamation in the 70s. The Meandering River, the 4 sections of Cambridge, and the bridges over the Grand River. There's also the Cambridge sign outside the City Hall that's lit with different colors throughout the year. It's a great place to take a photo. Next door is the Historic City Hall, opened in 1858, built in 1857. After many delays, the original townfolk didn't like the design. Everyone had an opinion. Most didn't think it was grand enough for the up-and-coming new town. It is a beautiful building inside and out, built from Galt limestone and split fieldstone. It now houses the Cambridge Archives and the Municipal Council Chamber. The bell rings on the hour. The Farmers Market has been in Cambridge for close to 200 years. This is a building that was designated for the market, and year in, year out, you'll find it open on Saturday mornings, selling a variety of delicious baked goods, jams, honey, meat, dairy, cheese, produce, flowers, desserts, specialty foods, handmade goods, crafts, and I can keep going. It's a great place to pick up a few things to munch on for an impromptu picnic later. While dogs are not allowed inside the building, you'll often see people strolling their pets in the outside portion of the market. Outside, look for the table set up beside the side church doors of the Wesley United Church. Wesley United Church has been selling apple dumplings and pies for almost 30 years, as they originally started as a fundraiser for church restoration. They're still using a portion of the funds for restoration, but also to fund a variety of charities throughout Cambridge and the world. When it starts running again, you can go inside and down the stairs to the Wesley Saturday Cafe for coffee and more tasty treats. Back outside, walk to the front of the building, and you'll be on Ainslie Street. You can admire this beautiful church that was built in 1879. This is another church I'll be highlighting on my Churches of Galt walk. Across the street, you can see one of Cambridge's iconic stores, Reed's Candy and Nuts. Be safe, go to the corner and cross the street, and this will give you a chance to check out some of the other stores on the way. Reed's Candy and Nuts is, my slice of heaven, considered one of the best chocolate stores, if not the best, in Canada. It is a treasure for scrumptious chocolates and other goodies. They have gorgeous displays for all the holidays and are a Cambridge staple for Valentine's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and birthday gifts. This place is perfect. It's also perfect to pick out a little something for yourself as well. Reed's history goes back for more than 70 years, and there's a very good, delicious reason why they've been here for so long. We're going to walk back to the corner of Dixon and Ainslie. What I want to point out to you right now is the spot of one of the most famous photos of Cambridge history. In 1974, the waters of the Grand River flooded the downtown core with $7 million of damage. This photo, by Mike Hanley, is of police officer John Shuttleworth, waist-high in water, leaning against the building in the flooded streets. It was this flood that changed the face of the newly formed city of Cambridge, and while it caused so much damage, it also gave Cambridge one of its beautiful new areas. That area is called the Living Levee, and I'm going to be showing it to you on a further episode. Join me as I continue this walk of historical Old Galt. I'm going to be showing a National Heritage building that looks like a castle, 20-foot wide goose wings, ghost signs, a store that's been on Main Street for over 120 years, and much, much more.